from a common ancestor cannot be ascribed to identity of Jesus. So, to conclude our assessment of Darwin's hypotheses and theories that he put forward, essentially he relied heavily on this argument, which simply is that his theory is better than the doctrine of creation and therefore has to be subscribed to. He argued against what he thought a creator God should not have done. For instance, things like, he said that a God, according to Darwin, would not have created species with characteristics that makes it so easily possible to classify them into species, genera, and other categories. According to Darwin, if there was an intelligent God, he would not have created extinct species that are geographically distributed the way they are. According to Darwin, such a God would not have created extinct species that appear in a progressive pattern as in fossil records. A good designing God would not have created species with vestigial organs, according to Darwin. And a God would not have created species with similar structures perform different functions. So, because all these things are wrong, there is no creator. Darwin essentially fabricated a God who did not exist, a deity who engaged only in arbitrary and unrelated acts of creation, and then he wrote his books to argue against his own fictional God. But let's now talk about the God of the Bible. What do we know about the God of the Bible? The Bible tells us that the God of the Bible is an infinite being who always existed because he is self-existent. He is self-existent. Psalm 19 verse 2 says, from everlasting to everlasting, your God. He doesn't depend on anyone else or his existence. He is infinite. He's an infinite being. Psalm 147 verses 4 and 5 says, he counts the number of stars. He calls them by name. His understanding is infinite. In Isaiah 40, God asks, to whom will you liken me? With what likeness will you compare me? Will you create me into a fictional being like David? To whom will you liken me? With what shall I be equal? Asks the Holy One. And he says, lift up your eyes, look at who created all these things? Who brings them out by number? He calls them by name. His greatness and his might, and by his power not one of them goes missing. Then he says, verse 28, have you not heard, have you not known that the everlasting God that created the ends of the earth? He doesn't faint, he doesn't get tired, he doesn't lose his energy. And his understanding is unsearchable. His understanding is infinite. The point here is this: you need an infinite mind to fully understand an infinite God. Secondly, the Bible tells us that God created the universe. The Bible is very, very plain, doesn't need a lot of effort to read. It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. All things were created, John says, all things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. God made it. Colossians says in chapter 1, verse 16 and 17 that everything, absolutely everything above and below, visible and invisible, rank after rank of angels, everything God started in him and finds his purpose in him. He was there before any of it came into existence and holds it all together right up to this moment. God created this entire universe. The Bible also tells us that God created everything in its initial mature form, and then he entrusted it to man. He created it in its mature form. The Bible does not substantiate an evolutionary process, a theistic evolution. When God created the world and he created all the living creatures, they were in their mature form. Adam wasn't created a baby. But he entrusted it to man. And if we explore the biblical account of what happened since then we have an answer for some of the apparent flaws we find in the world around us. For God gives evidence to His existence by His grace. God is speaking to me every day and night, and saying, hello, I'm here. His grace is speaking to us. Romans chapter 1 verses 19 to 22 says this. Because what may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has shown it to them. For since the creation of this world, His invisible attributes are clearly seen and clearly visible, being understood by the things that are made, even His eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Because although they knew God, they didn't glorify Him as God, nor were thankful, but became futile in their thoughts, and their foolish hearts were darkened, professing to be wise to become fools. The Bible says the creation, all creation, is revealing to us the things we cannot see about God. They are speaking to us and saying there is a mighty God, and we are without excuse. The mistake we have done is, in attempting to be wise, they only become fools. Psalm 19 says that the heavens declare the glory of God, and the universe shows His handiwork. Every day, day after day, is speaking. Night after night, and revealing His knowledge. There is no place or language where His voice is not heard. So even, you can't even say, the Bible hasn't been translated into my language. Because the heavens are speaking your language. There is no place or language where the voice is not heard. The light has gone out throughout the whole earth. And their words, the ends of the world. Every tribe has had an opportunity, or has an opportunity, to look at the heavens and know there is God. You don't want to look up? Just look at yourself. Because Psalm 139 says, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Therefore, I will praise you. You are evidence of the greater God. The Bible's admonition is so strong, it says, the fool, in Psalm 14 verse 1, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. One of the greatest evidences of the existence of God is creation. That itself is a great evidence of the existence of God. I want you to watch a short video now.